great life.
Scott, you're okay?
Emergency 911.
Please get someone here right away. My friend has been shot.
That chilling call for help came too late. 32-year-old Scott Amador was dead, shot by 26-year-old Jonathan Schmitz. Just days earlier, the two appeared on a segment of the Jenny Jones talk show.
Unfortunately, when you do shows as sensational as some of our shows, there are consequences.
The Amador-Schmitz saga is a sad milestone in the remarkable life story of Jenny Jones. This gutsy lady of television talk didn't become famous until she was in her 40s, and her real-life travels are as interesting as any talk show tell-all.
She's kind of a chameleon who's remade herself again and again.
Jones survived years on the road with no-name rock bands.
She was a rebellious teen. She ran away from home to get away from her father.
Shared the stage with the King of Vegas.
She had the total work ethic, total discipline, and total attention span that was necessary to be a star.
Reinvented herself as a stand-up comedian.
I don't know how many women she went against, but guys, you know, she just flattened them out.
Battled through botched boob jobs.
I think every once in a while in life you just have to say uncle. We're not magicians, we're just plastic surgeons.
Walked away from 3 marriages and finally found fame in the rough and tumble world of talk shows.
If you slept with your sister's cousin and had your uncle's baby, call us.
But fame Jones found did not come without a cost.
I think had that show never happened, that murder would have never taken place.
This is the story of a determined woman who overcame trials, tribulations, and tragedy. This is the story of Jenny Jones, the E! True Hollywood story.
The dream of being one of her life's ambition, recognition
Well, guess what? It's Scott that has the crush on you.
You lied to me.
This jarring revelation set off a chain of events that culminated in a brutal murder and irrevocably changed the life of Jenny Jones. Jones, a relatively benign figure in the rough and tumble talk show world, found herself fighting for her reputation. Jenny Jones was born Janina Stronsky on June 7, 1946 in Jerusalem to a Polish Catholic couple, Jan and Zoska. That same year, the family moved to Rome. Jenny's mother worked as a dressmaker, and her father worked in a homeless shelter at the Vatican. Jan moved his family again in 1948, this time to the industrial city of London, Canada. Jan and Zoska opened a little dress shop, but the marriage was troubled. In 1956, the Stronskys divorced. Zoska and her daughters, 9-year-old Janina and 11-year-old Liz, moved to Montreal, Quebec. Janina struggled to fit in. In French-speaking Montreal, she resorted to extreme measures to get attention. In 1998, Jenny spoke about her childhood on the Howard Stern radio show.
But something was bothering you because you carved your name in your arm?
I did, yeah.
With a razor blade?
Yeah, I was sort of in that, like a little gang kind of thing when I was 10, 11 years old.
Wow.
And I wanted to be tough.
The tough exterior was just an act. Janina suffered from low self-esteem. The young girl needed support and love, but she couldn't turn to her mother.
She was a serious alcoholic, a binger who would drink, for a week and 2 weeks.
Jan worried about his daughter's safety. In 1959, he won custody of Janina and Liz and brought them back to Ontario. The move did little to dispel Janina's anger. Jenny's first husband, Jack Poster.
She ran away at a young age. She was pretty distant from her father.
By the time she was 16, Janina was blossoming into a beautiful woman. But constant criticism from her parents made Janina feel inferior. Magazine writer Jane Birnbaum.
Her father shamed her into performing so-called breast-enhancing exercises. She had an alcoholic mother who touched her breasts and tweaked them.
Janina escaped her troubles at home by hanging out with musicians in local clubs. Intrigued with the drums, she asked a friend if she could try his set. In her autobiography, My Story, Jenny wrote, "I asked what kind of money a drummer could make. He said $75 a week, on the road. Wow, somebody pinch me. The two things I wanted most in the world, money and leaving home." By 1963, 17-year-old Janina decided to do just that. After practicing on a used set of drums she bought on credit, Janina set out to find work. Janina landed a gig touring around Canada with a 2-man combo. She dropped out of high school, packed up her drums, and left home. Janina's father let her know that she was not welcome back.
She wanted show business, very much so. she had aspirations of becoming a star, even back then.
For the next 4 years, Janina crisscrossed Canada. It was a life of cheap motel rooms, raunchy clubs, and fleeting relationships. By the spring of 1967, Janina was burned out. She needed a change, so she started with her name. She wanted something catchy, but simple. Soon, Jenny Jones was born. Jenny took her new name and everything else she owned and headed for Hollywood, friend Terry O'Brien.
That type of drive and focus at that young of an age probably comes from trying to prove something to her father.
Jenny rented a small studio apartment. She registered with the Musicians Union and worked as a hostess in a strip bar while waiting for an audition. Jones got a break in the spring of 1969 when she was asked to join an all-girl band in Las Vegas called the Cover Girls. Jenny signed on in a drum beat. Jenny quickly became the boss, former member Stephanie Teal.
As a band leader, she was pretty strict. You know, she had these certain sets of rules that she wanted us to follow about our grooming and everything like that. If somebody saw us out not wearing our cover girl lipstick and everything like that, you know, I would hear about it later.
Jenny even made the band's costumes, what there was of them.
The outfits were as skimpy as they could be and, you know, supposed to be really sexy. And they came up just, you know, as short as they could possibly be.
The Cover Girls were good musicians, and they weren't bad to look at either. They played every smoky lounge from Vegas to Tahoe. It was in one of those lounges that 23-year-old Jenny met 19-year-old trumpet player Jack Poster.
I saw this group playing with Jenny in it, and I could see Jenny, and she kind of looked at me too and smiled, and I smiled. The next night, she was up in our audience watching the Harry James show. She waited for me, and we met.
Jenny and Jack dated steadily for months. Poster was head over heels.
She was very, very attractive. It kind of mesmerized me, the fact that she was an older woman that hadn't had no sexual experience whatsoever.
Coming up.
They said it only made sense that she had some protection. The police told her to carry a weapon of some sort.
And later.
All of the implants that she had were the most controversial implants in all of plastic surgery.
Amanda Berkeley's fans know her as America's favorite TV mom, but those who know her know better.
Don't forget my soda with some rum! Amanda's on the top of the jumbotron threatening to jump. I can't go to jail.
They don't send stars to prison.
What about Robert Downey Jr.?
Kathy Lee Gifford and Howie Mandel in an E! original movie about what happens when you mix business and pleasure with other controlled substances. Spinning Out of Control premieres next Sunday at 9, only on E!
At Cheap Tickets, you save money every time you fly. But that's not all. Because at Cheap Tickets, you can choose your airline, choose your schedule, and choose your discount fare. With Cheap Tickets, you can get up to 40% off on airfares right now. Call or log on now, because today's prices may not be available tomorrow. Call 1-888-CHEAP-TK or log on to cheaptickets.com. Cheap Tickets. The choice is yours.
Counselor, I urge you to continue.
Urge?
I got the urge.
She's got the urge to work home.
Order! Order me a bottle of that.
Nothing can stop the urge to herbal.
I am not an electrician. I am not a decorator. I am not a mover. I'm a home buyer. And I could use some help.
Coldwell Banker has a time-saving service for home buyers and sellers. Coldwell Banker Concierge, now found on ColdwellBanker.com, is designed to help you take care of the details of moving.
Landscaper. I'm not a painter. And I'm going to be okay.
ColdwellBanker.com. When you need an address, try ours.
This portion of the is brought to you by Caldwell Banker Real Estate Corporation. Visit CaldwellBanker.com for a great real estate experience. When you need an address, try ours.
By 1969, 23-year-old Jenny Jones performed in every mining town in Canada and a host of smoke-filled casino lounges in the States. She had been on the road for almost 6 years. Jenny longed for stability, but she looked in all the wrong places.
The bed was all messed up, and there were clothes and stuff flying all over the place, so I knew they had just got done doing whatever they were doing.
On September 22, 1969, Jenny and her teenage boyfriend Jack Poster tied the knot in a little chapel on the Vegas Strip. The couple soon discovered that their musician's lifestyle did not lend itself to married life.
We only saw each other for brief moments, a week or two here, a week or two there. It really wasn't much of a marriage.
Just 9 months after the couple took their vows, Jack received some startling news after returning home early from a tour.
And I go, it's me, it's Jack, your husband. And she said, just a minute. And I thought that was very strange. And about 10 minutes later, the door opened up, and out she came with husband number 2. Well, I stood there in shock, and she said that the marriage is over and that she didn't want any part of me and that she wanted a divorce and that she was in love with Al.
Al was Al Gambino, a music composer at the Aladdin Hotel. Stunned and hurt, Jack filed for an annulment. Just 9 days after it was granted, Jenny married Gambino. The marriage spelled the end of the Cover Girls.
When she was going to marry Al, that's when she decided to break the band up. So I think it was just her idea. Well, I think because they wanted to do their comedy act.
The act was a disaster, and so was the marriage. Jenny needed to find work. In the winter of 1971, she snagged an audition with Wayne Newton, but this time Jenny was not behind a set of drums. She was singing backup.
I went down. By the time I got there, rehearsal was over. They handed me a dress and a tambourine. They said the show starts at 8.
I looked at the other girl singer, and I said, do you have the dress that the girl who vacated that position was wearing? Yes. Will it fit Jenny? Yes. Well, Jenny, I suggest you go get dressed. And she said, not tonight. And I said, yeah. If you're going to swim, get in the pool.
Jones dove right in, but Jenny's success seemed to aggravate her strained marriage. In the fall of 1972, after just 2 years together, Jenny and Al divorced. Just a few months later, Jenny found husband number 3, a marketing executive with Capitol Records named Buzz Wilburn. The two were introduced by Wayne Newton.
Both Buzz and Jenny, at that point in time in their life, had both been through a bad relationship. They found that they had that in common.
They had so much in common, Jenny made a surprising decision.
She came to me and said, I think that I'm going to have to leave the group. We're just away from each other too much. So she really left me to be a housewife.
In the summer of 1973, Jenny married Buzz Wilburn. Buzz owned a beautiful house in the Hollywood Hills. The couple settled into domestic life, but not quietly.
When she was married to Buzz, right, he had like 4 children, and they were like grown. They were, you know, teenagers, and that was something she stepped into, not knowing what it was like.
Jenny was in for more surprises. Buzz was experiencing financial troubles. Just a couple of years after the wedding, the couple was forced to move from their lavish home into an apartment in the city of Marina del Rey. The couple needed cash, so Jenny went back to work. In 1976, she formed a new band, Jenny Jones and Company. One night after a performance, a man attacked and tried to abduct Jenny in the parking lot of her apartment complex. Although she escaped, Jones was never the same.
The police told her to carry a weapon of some sort. They said it only made sense that she have some protection.
Former manager Rick Marcelli.
She says, here, hold this. And it was a really feminine, dainty little purse. And I said, okay. And I grabbed it, and I went right to the ground. It was heavier than heck. I said, what the heck's in here? Well, there was a .38 in her purse.
Jenny and Buzz seemed to suffer as a consequence. In 1981, after years of conflict, they divorced. Jenny and Company continued to limp along, playing in local bars around L.A. 36-year-old Jenny was frustrated. Her music career was going nowhere. Jones decided to try something else. That something else was stand-up comedy.
That time comedy was just coming up and there weren't many women doing it, and so I thought, how hard can it be? I'll do stand-up.
Jenny started performing at open mic nights and comedy clubs around L.A. while working as a secretary during the day.
She's a risk taker. I mean, she forges ahead where other people would stop in their tracks, you know? And Jenny just keeps going.
In March 1981, Jenny's persistence landed her a gig at the Laugh Stop in Encino. Most of the audience walked out. Owner of the Ice House Comedy Club in Pasadena, Bob Fisher.
Very few people go from just starting comedy to doing headliner-type material. They say it takes 5 years to truly be funny. So Jenny went through some tough times.
And times got a lot tougher. Coming up, Jenny's surgical odyssey begins.
She had problems with them from the beginning. It was a monumental disaster.
This week on E! Online. Lights, camera, action. What really happens in Hollywood? Find out in our top 10 movies about movies. Plus, award season continues, and E! Online is your source for exclusive coverage live from the red carpet. Next up, the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Find us at eonline.com. And America Online users just type in AOL keyword E, or click on AOL's entertainment channel, then E. For the best celebrity news on the web, go to E! Online, entertainment's homepage.
Blue from American Express.
This spring, you want me to work it? Work it. Good men aren't hard to find. We're single professional men. We're the cream of the crop.
We are the cream of the crop. You're on the bottom of the barrel.
Morris Chestnut.
Would you like to meet my sister?
I'm kind of off the market right now.
C.L. Hughley.
A young brother's getting all he can stand these days.
Bill Bellamy.
I'm La Muzinda.
Lamu what?
Shamar Moore.
We're getting married.
Here we go. Come on, let's
The Brothers. Rated R. Opens everywhere March 23rd.
Express Makeup 3-in-1 from Maybelline. It glides on liquid smooth, dots on to conceal, finishes powder light. Express Makeup 3-in-1.
It's makeup made simple.
Maybe she's born with it.
Hi, I'm Chris Rock, and you're watching E! Everything Entertainment.
From fashion to food, one Pacific Place, 103rd and Pacific.
We're here at the all-new L Street Auto and Truck Center, the biggest used car dealer on L. They have hundreds of car and truck bargains and special credit terms to make your payments very affordable. How about a sharp 2000 Chevy Cavalier 4-door, only $89.95. A 96 Mercury Mystique, just $49.88. This 97 Honda Civic LX 4-door, only $99.95. Or this race-inspired 2000 Chevy Camaro, just $13,995. Hundreds of bargains, special credit terms, the all-new L Street Auto and Truck Center, 75th and L. Hurry in today.
Jenny Jones bounced from husband to husband and career to career. She was cursed with bad luck and bad timing. Nothing seemed to help, not even a new set of breasts.
All of the implants that she had were the most controversial implants in all of plastic surgery.
Ever since she was a young girl, Jenny Jones suffered from low self-esteem. She was especially self-conscious about being flat-chested. In her autobiography, My Story, Jenny wrote, "I believe that big breasts were what separated the girls from the women." Jenny finally scrounged up $1,500 for breast augmentation. On May 15, 1981, Jenny went from a AA to a size 36C. 6 months later, Jenny's breast implants began to harden. On May 15, 1982, Jenny had her implants replaced. Although Dr. Richard Ellenbogen did not operate on Jenny, he is an expert in the field of plastic surgery.
If the immune system recognizes the implant, what happens is the body will contract down, making the space smaller than the implant, making it feel hard.
In the fall of 1983, her new set of implants also hardened. Jenny was in pain and emotionally distraught. She went under the knife again on December 19, 1983, for her third set of implants in as many years. After the surgery, Jenny lost all feeling in her breasts. A few months later, they hardened again. Despite her physical problems, Jenny tirelessly traveled back and forth across America, appearing at any comedy club that would have her.
I'd never seen any comic work that hard or that smart to set up that many appearances on stage.
Jenny worked night and day. To make matters worse, she underwent surgery again for her fourth set of implants in August of 1984.
I think every once in a while in life you just have to say uncle. We're not magicians, we're just plastic surgeons.
Jenny wouldn't give in to her medical problems or give up on her career. Although she shared the stage with comics such as Jerry Seinfeld, Gary Shandling, and Dennis Miller, Jenny's career wasn't going anywhere. After 4 years of touring, she decided that she needed help. Jenny found personal manager Rick Marcelli in March of 1985.
I figured it out. I said, we got to put you in the miniskirts. You got to listen to me. We got to make your hair big. All of a sudden, I had a blonde bombshell that was funny.
Marcelli introduced Jenny to fresh ideas and to his best friend, Dennis McCallan. Jenny found Dennis very charming.
Right from the get-go, I believed that there was something happening. They didn't know it, but I believed it.
On December 18, 1985, Jenny appeared on Star Search, an amateur talent show hosted by Ed McMahon.
What caught me about Jenny Jones was her outfit. She had a little miniskirt, tiny little miniskirt, and frizzy hair. She looked like Phyllis Diller. So it attracted me to her, and then she started winning.
Great, it's so exciting to be back on the show, especially being the only female comic. It's really a thrill. I think you're better off with a female comic. We are more dependable. It's true, if we don't feel like performing, at least we can fake it. I'm dating now, and a couple of things annoy me. I get annoyed when a married man asks out a woman. That really bothers me, especially when they lie. They tell you they're single, they pick you up in a Winnebago with a swing set on the top.
When she won, she didn't think she was going to win. She only had one outfit. So when she won, we had another show to tape that night. She had to go quick and make herself another outfit. So she made 13 of these outfits herself.
On February 13, 1986, Jenny Jones became the first female comedian to win the $100,000 Star Search Grand Prize.
She ran to the phone and called her father. I mean, she was so excited to tell her father that she had just won. It was just like a proud moment.
Jenny's success on the show caught the attention of Sammy Davis Jr. Jones traveled with Sammy. While she was on the road, Jenny learned her father had leukemia. He died in May 1989. Despite her grief over the loss of her father, Jenny continued to tour. Star Search gave her legitimacy as a comic, but she still wasn't a headliner. Jones decided it was time for a change. Jenny parted ways with her manager Rick Marcelli and hired Rick Bernstein. Bernstein quickly got Jenny a gig with singer Engelbert Humperdinck.
I was touring with Engelbert, whose audience is all women practically, and I was very well received, and I thought, gee, working for all women would be great. Why not just do only women? And I created Girls' Night Out, which was a stand-up act for women only, like a pajama party where we kind of just locked the doors, barred the men, and let our hair down. It was very successful.
We have a lot of guys that try to come in drag to these shows to kind of fit in. Now, let's just do like a hairy knuckle check. Can we just, okay, who has not shaved their legs for like 14, 15 days?
Girls' Night Out was the big break Jenny needed. Critics raved and audiences loved it.
When she stretched her hand out with the microphone and put it in the women's faces in the audience, clearly the executives could clearly say, oh, talk show host.
In March of 1990, executives from Lorimar Television offered Jenny a daytime talk show. A few months later, she shot the pilot for what was to become The Jenny Jones Show. It was quickly scooped up by local television stations. In June of 1991, Jenny moved to Chicago to begin taping. The original format called for several lighthearted topics interspersed with comedy sketches. The Jenny Jones Show debuted on September 16, 1991. Television critics ravaged the show and the audience ignored it. Chicago Tribune critic Steve Johnson.
She's an average to below average talk show host with an average to below average talk show.
The reviews were bad, but the news about Jenny's health was worse. She received her fifth set of implants in the summer of 1991. Months later, exhausted and frustrated, Jones decided to tell the world about her problem.
I had that constant underlying fear, someday somebody's going to expose me.
On February 24, 1992, Jenny landed on the cover of People magazine when she spoke about her plastic surgery nightmare.
I went public because I knew I had the power to stop women from having breast implants unnecessarily.
While some critics claimed ratings stunt, Jenny's revelation had a positive impact on the show. Ratings slowly increased, and in April of 1992, Jenny's talk show was renewed for a second season. Jenny continued to experience problems with her implants. On May 8, 1992, she checked into the UCLA Medical Center.
Ultimately, Jenny had her breast implants taken out. I think this is a wise decision after 5 tries. After doing this, the breasts don't revert back to exactly the same position they were before she had any surgery done.
Coming up, Jenny's show takes a turn.
Ambush or sort of secret-oriented shows, I think, have sort of been her trademark.
She was a famous opera diva who married a Greek tycoon, but when American royalty stole her husband, did depression cause her death? Mysteries and Scandals premieres Maria Callas tomorrow at 8:30, only on E! Fame, ain't it a bitch?
And the nominees are... Join Joan and Melissa live from the red carpet at the Academy Awards, coming March 25th, only on E!
The Hyundai Elantra is making news again. In a 5-mile-per-hour crash test, the 2001 Elantra performed the best, better than Honda Civic, Ford Focus, and every other car tested. Elantra is also the only car in its class with standard side airbags and the freedom of America's best warranty plan. Maybe that's why leading consumer publications are talking about Elantra value and calling it the best new car under $13,000.
Giselle, I just read that curves are back.
Really? Did they ever go away?
New Kahlua rum cola drinks to go. They're pre-mixed, so you can pour yourself into the party.
On an interview, press is always best. But once the job's yours, it's performance, not perfection that counts. That's why Downy Wrinkle Releaser is great for everyday clothes. A couple of sprays, a couple of tugs, and smooth away wrinkles. You'll be back at work in casual shirts and khakis that look comfortable when it counts. Just spray, tug, and smooth. It's the casual press for casual dress. Downy Wrinkle Releaser.
Honey, we're going to miss the ballet, and it's supposed to be beautiful.
Now, Smart Ones are going to bowl you over. Introducing delicious bowls from Smart Ones, like spicy Southwestern-style chicken. Smart Ones bowls. When you're smart, it shows.
My face is the center of their world.
Dove knows your face is important.
I say, Mommy doesn't wear your clothes. Please don't wear hers. Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. That's what I start my day off with. But there's one thing that's just mine.
New Dove cleansing cloths with 1/4 moisturizer and vitamins A and E. They create a luxurious lather, leaving skin feeling soft and hydrated as they clean.
Kids love to touch soft things, especially my face, and that makes me feel great.
For the latest on your favorite celebrities, check out Entertainment's homepage at www.eonline.com or America Online keyword E!
By the summer of 1992, Jenny Jones survived 3 marriages, 6 breast surgeries, and bad reviews. Then a bizarre turn of events tore at the very fabric of her beliefs.
It could have happened to anybody else. It could have happened to Oprah before she had her conversion and turned her talk show into something more benign. So in some respects, it was kind of just bad luck that it happened to Jenny Jones.
The Jenny Jones Show was renewed for a second year, but the vote of confidence did not stem the bad reviews. To increase ratings, Lorimar brought in the Emmy-winning husband and wife team from The Phil Donahue Show, Ed and Debbie Harwick Glavin. Their strategy for getting ratings out of the gutter, a more serious issue-oriented show.
Last year, because I came from stand-up comedy, it was intended to be, and it was a fun show. It didn't work as well as we would have liked, and so this year we're doing more serious things, more sensational topics, and it's working.
The show took off. Within 1 year, ratings climbed 88%. Jenny's style of blending personal experience with serious issues was a winning combination. By the end of the second season, The Jenny Jones Show was in third place behind Oprah Winfrey and Ricki Lake. 46-year-old Jenny signed a 5-year contract. For the first time in her life, her future seemed secure. Former Washington Post journalist Megan Garvey.
I think that has contributed to her success, that people can identify with her. They don't see her as someone who has always had everything go perfectly well for her.
Despite her professional success, Jenny's personal life was still filled with unresolved issues. Jenny longed to make peace with her ailing mother, but Zoska Stronsky died June 2nd, 1994. In her autobiography, Jenny wrote, "My unfulfilled relationship with my mother had wiped me out emotionally. I had cried so much for so long there were no more tears left." Magazine writer Jane Birnbaum.
She didn't have the gift of being able to direct her anger towards the people who had really done her the most harm, her parents.
Over the next couple of years, Jenny threw herself into work. The show was humming along. By the 5th season, the ratings were as sensational as the topics.
A typical show of Jenny Jones would be young people, especially women in too tight clothes, who are in trouble with their parents or their friends, or, you know, dating the wrong people or dating 3 of the people who are on the panel.
Psychiatrist Dr. Carol Lieberman.
You can see how, over these several years, it went from a topic that was more in-depth and serious to one that was a little more sensational to one that was totally off the wall.
It was this environment that may have encouraged show producers to pitch the idea of a secret crush segment, but with a twist.
The same-sex secret crush show, or even heterosexual secret crush shows, are very typical of what Jenny and her show talk about. Very much ambush or sort of secret-oriented shows, I think, have sort of been her trademark, and the trademark of the talk show industry in general.
Jones's show ran an ad seeking viewers who had same-sex secret crushes.
Are you romantically attracted to a friend of the same sex?
A 32-year-old bartender named Scott Amador answered the call from his home in Lake Orion, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit.
He was a talk show addict, and he called the show. He wanted to be on. He was swept up with it. He wanted to be famous. You know, he wanted to have his 15 minutes of fame.
Amador, who was gay, told producers that he had a crush on an acquaintance, a 26-year-old waiter named Jonathan Schmitz. Amador met Schmitz some months earlier through a mutual friend, Donna Riley. Amador gave out Schmitz's work number. A producer called Schmitz.
Jonathan didn't know anything about the Jenny Jones show, what type of show it was, who she was.
The producer explained the premise of the show. Schmitz had a secret admirer. If Jonathan agreed to appear on the show, the admirer would be revealed. According to former employer Jackie Downey, Schmitz was interested if the admirer was female.
I know when he talked to them on the phone, I happened to be walking by and I heard him say to somebody, tell me, because if it's a guy, I'm not coming. So I know he was adamant about that. I don't know what they said to him that changed his mind about going.
Schmitz called his father, Alan, a disc jockey.
One Sunday morning, the telephone rang. I said, John, where are you? I was supposed to be here for church. He said, Pop, something strange but wonderful has happened to me. He said, I'm going to the Jenny Jones show. He said, I've got a secret admirer.
Alan was cautiously optimistic for his son. He knew Jonathan was not very strong mentally.
Jonathan was a very fragile person in the sense that he had suicide attempts before in his life. Jonathan had been under the care a year before at a psychiatrist.
Schmitz openly speculated about the identity of his admirer.
He said, I'm dying to know who it is. He said, I think it's Kristen, who happened to be his fiancée. They had broken up probably about a year before.
When he then started talking to some of the people at work, he wondered about Donna being a possibility.
Donna, who was in on the secret, denied that she was the admirer. Amador also denied his involvement. Jonathan's former attorney, Fred Gibson.
And he said, hey, you guys didn't do this, did you? Or words to that effect. Oh, no. We didn't have anything to do with it. They laughed at him, knowing full well that they had set him up.
As tape day drew near, Jonathan became excited. He bought new clothes and got a haircut. On March 5th, Schmitz left for Chicago. Amador and Riley followed on a different flight. On the day of the taping, March 6th, Schmitz was kept separated from Amador and Riley in a soundproof booth. As the show began, Scott was encouraged to describe his sexual fantasies about Jonathan Schmitz.
Well, you're in a hammock or something? Tell us about that fantasy.
Yeah, actually, I got a pretty big hammock in my yard, and I thought about tying him up to my hammock.
And?
Well, it entails like whipped cream and champagne, stuff like that.
After the audience applause died down, Schmitz was called to the stage.
Did you think Donna had the crush on you?
Did I? No, we're good friends.
Well, guess what? It's Scott that has the crush on you.
You lied to me.
John threw his hands in front of his face of knowing that he's in something that is beyond his control. But he continued to be humiliated throughout the show. He professed his heterosexuality on the show. As Jenny Jones asked him, is there any hope for Scott and John to get together?
You could see him falling apart on the stage. When the camera wasn't on him, he really was losing touch with reality as he was sitting there.
Coming up, humiliation becomes murder.
Emergency 911. Please get someone here right away. My friend has been shot.
America's Sweetheart just got a whole lot sweeter.
That line sucks.
Okay, how about America's Sweetheart is a crazy pill-popping alcoholic nut job on a one-way road to career suicide?
Leave me alone!
Kathy Lee Gifford, like you've never seen her before.
She looks so awful.
In an E! Original movie.
Damn it!
An E! Original movie, damn it, about a television star with a knack for self-destruction.
She's a very troubled woman. You can still be troubled and run a brush through your hair.
Kathy Lee is spinning Out of Control, premiering next Sunday at 9, only on E!
You can express your opinion about the environment on your car, or you can do it with your car. It's America's first gasoline-electric hybrid, the Insight from Honda. The most fuel-efficient car in the world.
Dannon Light is different. It's now Dannon Light and Fit, with calcium, protein, 0% fat, healthy active cultures, and more vitamins than before. We've taken our game to a whole new level. New improved Dannon Light and Fit. Light just got fitter.
Is facial hair keeping you from getting this close? Vanica. It doesn't have to. Vanica is not a hair remover. It's totally different. Vanica is the first prescription cream that actually slows the growth of unwanted facial hair in women. So you may be less bothered by it. Some women may experience mouth tingling, burning, stinging, or rash. Ask your doctor about Vanica. Because up close is up to you.
I loved rock and roll when I was a kid. My stepfather hated it. With Lyco's music, I could check out what's hot in the charts. Hey, Dad, should I buy this one?
Whatever you're into, dig into it deeper on Lycos.
Travel like a star without the expense. Book your next vacation on Lycos Travel at travel.lycos.com.
Jenny Jones and her staff thought the taping of The Secret Crush show March 6, 1995 was a success. The audience loved it, and the guests seemed pleased. Little did they know the chain reaction it set off would be deadly.
From the show on, he was just, this was part of his downfall. This was part of his descent, what I called his descent into madness.
Incredibly, after the show, Jonathan Schmitz traveled back to Detroit with Scott Amador and Donna Riley.
They really had someone who was supposed to pick them up from the airport. It was already prearranged. and they changed tickets so that they could go on the same flight. And Jonathan said yes, that he would do it.
Leaving the airport on this very, very icy night, there was a caution light around some construction. Scott Amador, who was still delighted from being on the show, jumped out of the car, grabbed the caution light, and threw it in the back seat of the car.
The three had been drinking heavily at the airport and on the plane. They decided to stop at a bar on the way home for more drinks. Jonathan called his dad from the bar.
I said, well, why haven't you called us? Where you been? I said, John, I said, who was the admirer in Chicago? That morning he started crying. He said, Pop, that thing didn't work out very well in Chicago for me. And I said, well, who was the admirer? He said, it was a guy. And he said, now Grandpa and Grandma and everybody are going to think that I'm gay.
The next day, Schmitz arrived at work late and in bad shape. Former employer Kevin Downey.
I said, Jonathan, I've heard what happened. I know it's upset you. You've come too far in life. You have to get over this. And he assured me that he would.
But Schmitz wouldn't get over it. After work, he went out and got drunk with a friend. The morning of March 9th, after another night of binge drinking, Jonathan returned home to find a souvenir from the trip left on his doorstep.
Found this caution light turned on and flashing at his door, and a pornographic note from Scott Amador that said, if you want to get it off, you got to use the right tool.
At that moment, John turned into somebody else. He was on automatic pilot. Any reason that he may have possessed at that time was gone.
Schmitz left his apartment, drove his 1981 station wagon to the ATM where he withdrew $300. He then stopped at a hardware store and bought a box of shotgun shells. From there, Schmitz proceeded to a gun shop and purchased a 12-gauge shotgun.
After he made those purchases, he headed home, went from his apartment complex over to the mobile home park, which was not far away at all.
Oakland County Prosecutor Donna Pendergast.
About a block before Scott's trailer, he stopped his car, assembled the weapon that he had just purchased, and then when he pulled up in front of Scott's, he went up to the door under pretext. He didn't take the gun with him, but he went up to the door and told Scott's roommate that he wanted to speak with Scott.
John did speak to Scott, then returned to his car, where he sat for 10 minutes. He then grabbed his gun and went back to the front door.
As he's coming up the walk, he was spotted by Scott Amador, who yelled to his roommate, Gary, he's got a gun. Scott tried to close the front door, and Jonathan was already in the porch at this time. He forced the door open with the barrel of the gun. Scott Amador, in a basically defensive posture, grabbed a nearby wicker chair and had it up in front of him, and Jonathan Schmitz fired right through it. His shot hit him in the chest, he hit the floor, and then once he was on the floor, he fired again.
Scott, you're okay? Emergency 911. Please get someone here right away. My friend has been shot.
What happened?
Someone just came in with a gun and shot him.
You don't know who it was?
Someone that he knows.
Okay, do you know who this person is, and can you give me a description?
I only know his name is John.
John, okay.
Please hurry.
After John shot Scott, he went to the nearest payphone and confessed.
I think I just got him in. Okay, calm down, okay?
By the time they got him to the station, he gave a statement, though. By all accounts, he was calm and very methodical and went through what he had done.
What he had done was kill 32-year-old Scott Amador with 2 shotgun blasts to the chest. Coming up, the finger-pointing begins.
Her associate producer lied to John and lied to everybody else to get him on the show.
She was the outspoken queen of morning talk,
You really never knew what to expect.
who became a target for tabloid scandal.
I hear things about me and Kathy not even remotely close to the truth.
Find out how Kathy Lee Gifford faced down her foes
I was like, get a life and get out of mine.
and faced up to new challenges.
I'll probably never make as much money. I don't give a rip.
Real stars, real stories.
What do you want to know?
Kathy Lee Gifford Celebrity Profile, this Wednesday at 10, only on E!
Soup? Campbell's tomato. Celery. You always knew Campbell's was good. Now over 30 savory favorites have under 100 calories and 3 grams of fat or less per serving. So much for celery. Campbell's. Good.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, nominated for 10 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. It's a gravity-defying masterwork, named the Best Picture of the Year by Time magazine. One of the greatest movies ever made. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Rated PG-13, now playing everywhere.
Hi, my name is Rob Morrow, and I watch anything with Jules Asner.
We're here at the all-new L Street Auto and Truck Center, the biggest used car dealer on L. They have hundreds of car and truck bargains and special credit terms to make your payments very affordable. How about a sharp 2000 Chevy Cavalier 4-door, only $89.95. A 96 Mercury Mystique, just $49.88. This 97 Honda Civic LX 4-door, only $99.95. Or this race-inspired 2000 Chevy Camaro, just $13,995. Hundreds of bargains, special credit terms, the all-new L Street Auto and Truck Center, 75th and L. Hurry in today.
Jensen Tire, #1 in auto tires and auto maintenance. What are you going to do for us this year, Coach?
Jensen Tire will again lead the way with its newest superstars, the Kelly Tire line.
Charger, Explorer, Safari. Specially designed to improve durability and provide superior all-season traction.
At Jensen, everyday sale prices.
That's why leadership at Jensen Tire means giving people more than they expect to get.
Now you know why people are cheering. We love Jensen Tire.
By March of 1995, Jenny Jones was on the defensive. After the taping of The Secret Crush show, 32-year-old Scott Amador was dead, and 26-year-old Jonathan Schmitz was in jail. Jones was about to find herself the topic of talk shows all over the country.
Unfortunately, when you do shows as sensational as some of our shows, there are consequences.
In the wake of the tragedy, observers were quick to blame The Jenny Jones Show, calling the secret admirer stunt and ambush.
Her associate producers lied to John and lied to everybody else to get him on the show.
But some say Schmitz knew it could have been a man or a woman.
He actually bears some responsibility here, too. He knew what the format was going to be, he knew the surprise nature of the show, and he opted to go for it.
Jenny Jones finally spoke out on March 15th, a week after the murder. She read a prepared statement on her show saying the show had no responsibility whatsoever because Schmitz was not misled.
They didn't even have the courtesy to send a sympathy card to the Amador family or to make a telephone call. They stayed as far away from it as possible, hoping it would leave them.
I think it's fair to say that she probably wanted to have all her facts straight. Once she had them straight, whether or not she should have come forward and been forthright a little earlier, it's a hard call.
Jenny later said she wanted to speak to the families, but the show's attorneys advised her not to. On October 7th, 1996, the Jonathan Schmitz murder trial began in Pontiac, Michigan. The defense tried to paint John as mentally ill.
He was afflicted with a psychological condition. The fact was he had a medical condition. The fact is that combined, they present a real problem.
Former executive producer of The Jenny Jones Show, Ed Glavin.
The truth is that we didn't do anything or not do anything that led to the death of Scott Amador. That's the truth. We didn't pull any tricks.
Jenny herself was called to testify on October 31st.
The show that John appeared on March 6, 1995 was just that, wasn't it? Ambush television?
No.
Why would you fail to identify the true nature or topic of that particular show in this document?
Because the premise of the show was that it was a surprise.
Jenny's testimony didn't sit well with the jury. Juror Joyce O'Brien.
What Jenny Jones said when she came into the courtroom was basically that she couldn't remember. She didn't know, which was kind of humorous to the jurors because how can you not know what's happening on your own show?
I would ask her questions, and it was almost as if she wasn't there.
Meanwhile, the media blitz continued as nearly every talk show and nightly newscast debated whether the ratings scramble had spawned a ruthless frenzy. Amador family attorney Jeffrey Feiger.
They had been warned in advance that if they produced these, these surprise-type humiliation shows, that they could produce a tragedy.
Whether or not this was the reasonable and foreseeable consequence of, putting an individual on a talk show without being screened, I don't really know. But I do know one thing: it's not the cause of the murder. It was the inciting factor, but it still doesn't take away nor mitigate the personal responsibility of Jonathan Schmitz.
During the trial, the Amador family filed a $50 million lawsuit against Warner Brothers, the producer and distributor of The Jenny Jones Show.
This is really a case in which a business that makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year at the expense of individuals' feelings and emotions really put a mentally ill individual on a stage to profit by it.
After 5 weeks of testimony and tears, the verdict of the criminal trial came down on November 12, 1996.
Second-degree murder, guilty. Felony firearm, guilty.
The jury came back with a second-degree murder conviction because they believed Jonathan had severe mental deficiencies.
I've always felt that that second-degree verdict was a compromise verdict on behalf of the jury. I think that was the bone that they threw Jonathan Schmitz.
The defense was trying to get at that Jonathan already had a problem, and to humiliate him publicly like that in front of everyone on TV was more than he could take.
Jonathan Schmitz was sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison.
I think it should have been a lot less than that, with a chance of parole at maybe 10 years, because I think what he needs is to get psychiatric help and medication.
I felt the sentence was appropriate. I've always believed that this was first-degree murder. What he did was cold-blooded, and what he did was murder, and what he did was premeditated.
Just weeks after Schmitz's sentencing, a problem surfaced.
The trial had been reversed on a technicality in regards to jury selection.
Schmitz would have to be retried. Almost a year after the Secret Crush show was taped, the legal drama continued with Jenny still in the center of the controversy. Jones was exhausted and bitter.
I'm still surprised how many people really believe that he was humiliated and he was ambushed. It really is not the case.
Coming up, Jenny's nightmare is far from over.
You smile when you're not comfortable, don't you?
Sometimes.
That's what Jonathan Schmitz did, isn't it?
Not necessarily.
How do you know?
He was a macho icon.
They don't make them like that anymore.
In the spotlight and in the closet.
He just really liked good-looking, masculine boys.
Rock Hudson was a man of many secrets.
All those years he had to live in terror.
One cost him his looks.
The drinking was legendary.
The other cost him his life.
And I said, Rock, do you have AIDS? And he said, no, I'm anorexic.
It's the story you haven't heard.
No one knew the real Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson, tomorrow at 9 on the E! True Hollywood Story.
That was really well.
Hey, can you believe it? I got braces at age 45.
No kidding. Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
What will our patients think?
They won't even notice.
Wait. Where are yours?
Oh, these are different. They're clear.
Well, maybe you should give the family the good news.
Introducing Invisalign, the invisible way to straighten your teeth without braces. For an orthodontist near you, call 1-800-INVISIBLE.
Snack mix? Snack mix? Snack mix?
Oh, no, thanks. I'm watching my carbohydrates.
Everyone else is eating it.
No, thanks.
So, snack mix?
Come on, take the snack mix.
Thanks. I'm all set with this.
Okay, then.
Now it's easy to be good and stick to your low-carb diet with Carb Solutions delicious bars and shakes. Carb Solutions, it's good to be good. Let's jet set.
Wouldn't it be great to invent your own holiday? Just send out an email that says, FYI, I'm taking off Thursday for St. Croix Day. Then you could go to Priceline.com for some last-minute name-your-own-price airfare. And by the time you're done packing, this gigantic new holiday movement starts gaining momentum. And when the eager mailboy asks, so, you doing anything for St. Croix Day? You'd say, I'm hopping the first flight out to St. Croix. Hey, happy St. Croix Day.
Hey, Alex.
Hi, Michael.
After you.
Oh, no, after you.
No, I insist.
Thank you.
Competition. Most of the time, it brings out the best in us.
Hey, make you something.
This is hip. Pretty baby. This is hip, baby. So hip, pretty baby. This is hip, pretty baby.
baby. All messed around, Bill.
In Love. Jack Daniel's Grill, only on Fridays. This portion of E is brought to you by TGI Fridays. In here, it's always Friday.
By the fall of 1997, Jenny Jones and her show were mired in controversy as a result of the murder of Scott Amador. With a new criminal trial about to begin and a $50 million civil suit pending, Jenny couldn't seem to put the trouble behind her.
This is not about money. I mean, Warner Brothers is insured. This is about principles. We have principles at stake. We have our reputations at stake.
Jenny was publicly attacked, branded a liar and a fool. In November of 1997, Jones released her autobiography titled Jenny Jones, My Story.
I think writing the book was very good for her. I think that was like a cleansing, like a probably closure with her mom.
Jenny went on the road to promote her book. At every turn, questions about the murder plagued her. But Jenny held firm in her defense of the show. Some found her attitude offensive.
Jenny Jones, even in her interview with Dateline NBC, with Jane Pauley, her testimony on the witness stand in the original murder trial, do you have any regrets about what happened? No. Would you change anything? No. It's the epitome of wicked.
She responded in the only way she could, saying it was a terrible tragedy, saying that it certainly was never their intent for that to happen.
The civil trial began on March 31st, 1999. On April 12th, Jenny once again took the witness stand. This time she was forced to contend with the Amador family attorney, Jeffrey Feiger.
How are you? Good. Do you know that you're smiling?
I believe I'm smiling, yes. So are you.
You're not nervous, though, are you?
I'm not comfortable.
Right, and you smile when you're not comfortable, don't you?
Sometimes.
That's what Jonathan Schmitz did, isn't it?
Not necessarily.
How do you know?
After a 5-week trial, the jury came back with a stunning victory for the family of the murder victim, Scott Amador. On May 7th, 1999, after just 7 hours of deliberation, jurors awarded $25 million to the Amadors. Scott's father, Walter.
Maybe we'll do something about these shows that are happening, and there won't be no more killings, like I lost my son.
Although the decision is being appealed, it's clear the jury was trying to make a point.
They were sending a message. I think they were sending a message that these types of talk shows shouldn't be tolerated, that basically they're garbage.
On August 27, 1999, Jonathan Schmitz was convicted again of second-degree murder. The verdict came down with little fanfare. His sentence remained the same, 25 to 50 years. The Jenny Jones Show is still as sensational as ever. The year 2000 marks the show's 10th anniversary.
I think the Jenny Jones Show, it serves its audience. It serves a certain audience, and people do enjoy it. I know a lot of people who tune in regularly.
Meanwhile, Jenny and her boyfriend of 10 years, Dennis McCallan, are still going strong, although the two have not tied the knot.
People have been married many times. Sometimes they talk about not wanting to jinx the relationship by getting married.
By all appearances, Jenny Jones made her dreams come true. She toured with a rock band, sang backup for Wayne Newton, created a successful comedy show for women, and hosts her own syndicated talk show. After 25 years living paycheck to paycheck, Jenny Jones finally cashed in on all her hard work.
I loved what she had evolved into, and yet I'm the first one to know that evolution has to come with a great deal of hard work.
Jenny just keeps going, and whatever she does, she goes, you know, full force into it, and doesn't let up. In the end, it paid off.
Okay, who has not shaved their legs for like 14, 15 days? We have a lot of guys that try to come and drag to these shows to kind of fit in. Now, let's just do like a hairy knuckle check. Can we just